take a small business out from theft, from all kinds of things that are happening. So we are hurt hard.
Hello, caller, you're on the air. What's your question or comment?
Yes, my thing is about this pandemic. It's not going to last forever. I mean, why they just can't be patient until they find a vaccine? Because too many people's lives already is gone. You know, everything they dying from the corona. I mean, it just don't make no sense to me. They need to get that vaccine and then send the people out there to whatever.
All righty. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, caller. We appreciate you all calling with your feedback. Again, that number is 601-948-5950. Hey, caller, you on the air. What's your question or comment?
I was listening to the show, and I was in reference to the I don't know about any other school district, in reference to some other school district, but I got two children that recently, I guess, 2 or 3 years ago, graduated from Jackson Public School. And at the time they were in Jackson Public School, they did not even have bathroom toilet paper in the restrooms and hand soap in the restrooms. A lot of those schools, the bathrooms, half of the bathrooms did not work. And they had so many problems with just general maintenance prior to the pandemic. You know, I like the confidence of them having the ability to maintain a safe and clean environment for the children to go to school and for the children to attend school. So, you know, we really have to look deep into the situations and circumstances in every school district, in every school, every location on the individual basis, and make sure that we're not risking those children's lives. Because I understand the necessity for the children to be educated and to be in a safe environment, but you know, in a lot of cases, the school has not presented a safe environment for students as well. But that's just my perspective on the children going back to school. Thank you.
We appreciate you, caller. So unless they call an SGE COVID solution, we don't feel safe sending our kids back to school, Mr. Garrett.
Well, we'll certainly do everything that we can. We have the protocols and we have the safe products. That's absolutely for certain. So we're here and we look forward to helping as many as we can. But I'd like to talk a little bit about this issue of schools not having the resources that they need to keep the schools clean and the bathrooms up to date and hand sanitizing stations everywhere in the school. We have to go all the way back to school funding. We have to go all the way back and understand why some school districts have nice buildings and have all of the latest technology and all of the laptops and clean bathrooms and everything else, and some schools don't. And, you know, schools are funded from property taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And if your community that you're in is suffering with poverty, then the funds that you have for the school are not equal. And I think all schools ought to be funded equally. I think that we ought to have a funding source where the dollars are collected by the state and distributed equally to all school systems throughout our entire state. And you won't have such a large disparity in funding for these schools. Look, few things that we got to do differently. You know, as I said earlier, Madison County, on the south side of Madison County looks one way, but on the northeast corner, it looks another. And so, you know, we gotta fight through this thing and have better policies and have government doing a better role of adequately and fairly distributing funds inside of all of our communities, so that we can upgrade the schools, so that we can have good buildings and safe buses. And those buses need to be cleaned every day, sprayed down every seat, wiped down every day when a child gets on and off. It's a source of high point area right there when the school kids are on those buses. So we got to implement strategy now to combat this virus in every way that we can. And we got to fix this funding issue for our schools that is so drastically different from place to place.
Yep. Most people don't know that Mississippi, the legislature have failed to fully fund education for they only fully funded twice in the last 20 years.
Wow. And we got to do a better job. I mean, education is the number one thing that will lift Mississippi off the bottom of every statistical category that is good, and we're first on everyone that's bad. So we gotta figure that out, because our children right now, 65% of all children leave Mississippi upon graduation. 65%. 85% of all Black children get out of here upon graduation. Yeah. And so we can't keep any of our brain trusts here in the state, and we can't elevate ourselves. And so we're in a bad situation. And unless we get effective leadership, committed leadership, and fair policy, then Mississippi will continue to spiral downward from the rest of the country. And that's a shame.
I agree. Nelson Mandela said education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And that's the same thing you just said. So it's going to take us making sure that our kids have a proper education.
So what do you say, Dr. J, about homeschooling and virtual classrooms? And are these alternatives as a professor? Are there any merits to homeschooling? But I guess you'd have to be at home to homeschool.
Yeah, you do have a lot of companies that are working from home. And so some parents are looking for alternatives. Now homeschooling does work if you have a system in place that works for your child. They do have curriculums out there online that are approved by the state that they can use if they want to fully homeschool their kids. So I do believe in homeschooling.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So, that's an option for the middle class.
Right.
And so you will see a lot of them taking advantage of that. But in our communities, we have to work every day to try and make ends meet. And so the homeschooling option may not be as prevalent in the Black community as it is in more economically profitable communities.
Carl, you're on the air. What's your question or comment? Turn your radio down.
Yes, I want to ask a question about what you and Mr. Garrett was discussing earlier about that Emmett Till case.
Yes.
The question that I was curious about was Miss Carolyn Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
It was stated to me that she was Phil Bryant's aunt, Governor Phil Bryant's aunt.
That's what people have been saying, and I have been researching for years trying to find connection. And they, if you go on Google, they have cut off some of his. You can't even find some of his history, but he's from Moorhead before he moved here. So you can't be that close and not be related. So I do believe there is a relation, and the fact that he never has addressed it. I do believe they're related.
Well, see, I have a nephew that he's kind of a history buff, and he loves, history, old history, new history, current events. And we were discussing that because I told him that I recently picked up a Clarion Ledger, and it was talking about the Emmett Till case, and he said it to me. He said, that lady Miss Bryant, the lady Miss Carolyn Bryant was Phil Bryant's aunt.
Wow. Yep. You're right about that. So we just haven't been able to confirm it. But thank you so much for your comment. We got about 5 minutes left on the show, and we just have a guest that walked in the studio. We want to welcome him. So thank you so much for calling. We appreciate you. Who we have in the studio with us, Mr. Garrett?
Well, I tell you, this virus has put most of our educators and our medical professionals at a disadvantage. It's not something that they studied a lot in their schools, and they certainly have not been treating patients for anything like this over the last decade or so. And so it's a real specific area of study. And so we have been joined by a virologist, Dr. Buckley, who is the only virologist that I personally know in the state of Mississippi that I've had a chance to speak to about this and get his thoughts on where it came from, how it's transmitted, and what the future looks like. So it's good to have you in the studio, Dr. Buckley, and would you share with us a little bit about your thoughts about this virus?
Mr. Garrett and Sister Carthan, thank you so much for giving me just a minute of time. I've been listening to the show. The history that you all ran down is just amazing. Trail of Tears. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
That was a history lesson. And Brother Socrates, you gave us a civics lesson on municipal government. I'm just blessed to be a part of just hearing this. And I just wanted to just touch on one thing. And we don't have a lot of time, but I heard you giving your opinions on schools reopening. And I want to just say, as a molecular virologist, on the front lines of this, you and I both know that you're right. You and I both know that our students, especially in the public school systems, whether you're Black or white, but certainly our Black students in the public schools have to think critically about being in school. Being out of school for many of our Black youth is not an option. It's not an option for the families. It's not an option for the parents, the guardians, and it's not an option for the students themselves. What I will tell you though is you're absolutely right that it requires that we get the schools ready. And I'm talking about the physical buildings. We know from a molecular biological standpoint that this virus is not going anywhere, at least within the next 18 months. That's not going to happen. Proper cleaning of these schools and courthouses, municipalities, your businesses, your churches, proper cleaning, and then training of your staff and your personnel and everybody who goes in and out. So with the school system, that would be the students, training them on what they need to do on a daily basis to stay safe. That's all we got, brother. That's all we got, but that's enough. If we take heed, we control our own destiny with this. It starts in the home. It starts with your own personal hygiene. You saw me walk in with my mask. I don't go anywhere without it. I was wearing my mask before the mayor put the mandate in for the city. I was wearing my mask before Governor Reeves put the state mandate in. I'm going to keep wearing my mask. As a virologist who got my PhD studying viruses, I know the damage this virus will do. If you play defense with this virus, coronavirus, if you're on defense, if you're responding to the virus, you're going to lose every time. And I'm not trying to be alarmist, just being real. So all these school superintendents, all these, pastors, preachers, teachers, municipal leaders, if you are involved in anything where you have large groups of people that you're in charge of, you better have a cleaning plan. And I'm not talking about one time. You need to have a maintenance plan. You need to have a maintenance plan. And I know that it can be done.
It can be done. It can be done. We're about out of time, but I wanted to say out there to the listening audience, Dr. Buckley. You can reach him with at SGE COVID Solutions. You can give him your personal number, because your school superintendents need to get him out to speak to you. He needs to be speaking to all of our educators out there about this virus. Here's a guy that's got a PhD that has studied this virus and studied viruses throughout this land, and we got to take advantage of the resources and the talent that we have in our community. So Dr. Buckley, give them your number, tell them to call.
I'll just give you my website, ascientistsapproach.org, ascientistsapproach.org. You can find all of my contact information there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for listening to BMA Radio Show. Make sure you all tune in next Sunday, same time, same place. See you next week.